Hey everybody, this is Perch, and one of the people who I think clearly living their best life is probably a good version of this. Now, I'm being a little tongue in cheek. Please don't come at me with some video explaining, the very nuances behind what's actually going on in real life. But there's one individual who works in comics and has been doing comics for many years now, has been wildly successful. Tons and tons of content, lots of money, and is known the world over for their material. And yet this guy, I think more than any other creator, has had people relentlessly come after them for easily a decade now. And it cracks me up at how this guy continues to respond, because he has a absolute very low key troll that goes on, where he is able to just dodge every criticism. This guy has been called sexist. He's been called racist. He's been called transphobic. He's been called insensitive to World War II veterans. He's been called everything. But Ichiro Oda, who is a creator of One Piece, his troll game is absolutely on point. And you don't really realize how often people come at him until you kind of dig in. If you ever, I've done a pretty good job of curating my feeds so that I just don't see a lot of nonsense now, whether it's from Reddit or from Twitter or wherever else. I've muted all the right words. So but I am a big fan of One Piece. And so I will see people go down the list. And for a while I was creating this just a chart of the various things that people were calling Oda. CBR in particular seems to want to take a swing at him about every 3 to 6 months about what an awful person he is. And it just does not, and now granted, I think being in Japan, he's got that buffer there, and it's pretty hilarious. I think that buffer and that wall that gets built up shields him from a lot of nonsense. But another part that is just funny is like the war that goes on over Wikipedia, and good for the One Piece fans who faithfully block the various slander that goes on, because people will post up stuff about how he is racist, how he is sexist, how he just hates women, misogynist. Again, everything comes at this guy. And what's kind of funny is that, arguably, I think Oda has introduced several topics, several progressive topics in One Piece far more effectively than a lot of the Western counterparts. Yet, despite that, people always take a swing at Oda. And so to to the point, Oda certainly got it for being racist as in regards to a lot of things. Usopp, one of the characters in One Piece, is often called a racist caricature. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But there you have it. And of course, sexism. So one of the aspects, and this is why I bring this up, because again, the troll game is so awesomely powerful. First of all, in One Piece, a decent number of the characters show up half naked much of the time. One of the characters, this male buff cyborg-like character, Frankie, pretty much runs around in a Speedo for the majority, if not all of the episode, and even had an episode where the Speedo got lost and he basically just let it all swing around. And so to talk about the outfits, now granted, Oda absolutely draws his women. Well, put it this way, we'll put up on the screen. One of the things I love about the guy is that they were asking him, why do you draw such sexist women? And he's like, well, I use the 1X and 3 circles method. That's the way to draw women. It's the easy way to draw women. And once you see it, you really can't unsee it when you watch One Piece. This guy, I love that response of just like, this is how I do it. And there you go. He gets pretty relentlessly attacked on social media on a regular basis, again, for all these pieces. And it is, there was this kind of gender update on Yamato, and that made people upset as well. So it is funny. I always laugh because CBR and comicbook.com often start their articles with the One Piece isn't the kind of story you'd expect to court controversy, and yet they're the ones who write these articles on a nonstop basis. Anyway, so it is funny. Um, I think a lot of people could learn from Oda because he doesn't jump in to it. He doesn't waste a lot of time. He never issues an apology. Even in one of the kind of when the Usopp from Africa thing really started heating up as a controversy, never apologized for it. On the he named a character off of the World War II soldier, and that also generated a lot of controversy. They demanded he apologize. Parts of the studio apologized, but Oda did not. It's Shueisha apologized, but he did not. He just won't jump in. He will sometimes explain what he's doing, usually with a joke, and usually with a "but this is just the way you do it" kind of joke, like the 1x 3 circles method. But if you look at it, he just never feeds the anger about it. He never gets it. He never gets into it, and it's smart. I think by not getting into this stuff, what he does, and he gave an interview at one point where he did make the comment, people want to trick you into fighting the war, but fighting the war feeds the war. I refuse to feed the war. So he just doesn't. Now, he's in a good position. One Piece is loved worldwide. It makes a ton of money. So he has the luxury of basically saying, I'm not going to get involved in this stuff. I'm making a lot of money. I'm doing fine. And other people don't always have that, that luxury. But because he's fairly shielded, nobody's going to cancel him at this point. It's just not going to, it's impossible at this point for him to get canceled. I know some people say never, but just the amount of, I think people don't quite understand the amount of money sometimes that One Piece is generating on a regular basis. It is a beast of content. I think that, well, I saw some stats during the pandemic because of the additional volume sold and the boom of manga again. They were doing some estimations that unless you count all of the movies and all of that content, One Piece easily outstrips Batman and Superman. You have to start counting in the movies, and then you get there sort of. But even that, then you can kind of dial up the amount of merchandise and things One Piece has sold. It's a ton of money is the point. And the comics themselves, if you're just comparing apples to apples, One Piece is just insane with the amount of cash it brings in on the comics, the manga themselves. But I do love like I said, CBR and they will post in tweets. They will talk about fans have taken offense to how women are depicted in One Piece. They're unrealistically tiny waists at war with their heavy busts. And Oda says he gets complaints about that often. In fact, the artist said female readers often critique the exaggerated proportions, but Oda seems to make the body look that way to carry on the series' overblown look. And he just blows it off. My favorite response, I think it's an epic response, is when he was getting really attacked for sexist depiction of women. He came out with I have a standard formula to make up the body proportions for heroines. The women's proportions are 3 circles and 1x. Please think and draw this way. Just like and there you have it. I think you can always choose to like something, not like something. And Oda's made comments about that in the past too. It's like, hey, if you don't like it, don't read it. It's very, very Kelly Sue of him. If you don't like it, don't read it. But he said it differently. He's like, if you don't like it, don't complain about it and just ignore it. And then kind of following up with that's what I do to all of your complaints. I don't like your complaints, so I ignore them. And I'm just going to keep drawing this comic, keep making money. Anyway, there's a lesson to be learned there, but I think you go down the rabbit hole. Almost everything. He's had animal cruelty charges put at him. He's had every possible label thrown at this guy, and he remains a pretty cheerful, doing his thing. He's happy. What more do you want? There's a lesson in there for us of just Do your work. If it works out, works out. And don't sweat the small stuff, because the small stuff is all kind of lousy and pointless in the end. Anyway, it's a happy video, right? It's a happy example to look at of, like, here's a guy who's just doing his thing, does not give a fuck. Thanks for listening.